This
Uh,
call is being recorded.
I am recording our conversation. Please don't hesitate to interrupt. If you have any questions whatsoever, that's totally fine. Um,
Thank you.
nice. And I see you got the transit forecast. I see your notes about major upcoming events. That's no problem. The first thing I'd like to do is to just speak about your natal chart first. It is
Okay.
quite incredible, actually. So,
Thank you.
yeah, sharing some very important reflections. The first thing I want to do is actually share an alien construct article because you have a very significant alien construct. One of my favorites actually is anything to do with Neptune, really, or Pluto. And it's in the sign of ascension. So, Neptune being in the same sign as your sun gives you a Neptune power alien quality, and Neptune power aliens can ascend, be mystical, dance the sacred dance, create world peace through visualization or film production, heal addictions, assist the dying and crossing over, sense the desires, dreams, delusions, and addictions of the masses, heal using hypnosis. I'm going to provide this article link so that you can access this after. And to have this with your moon in Aquarius on the goddess asteroid Pallas Athena and Psyche speaks a lot to how celestial and knowledgeable you are at your core. There's no construct article for that because this just focuses on outer planets, but it's the aqua moon alone is a huge deal. It's actually my favorite moon sign, and but like the to see you have Pallas Athena here, the goddess of wisdom and strategy, now, unlike most aqua moons, adds this very, very extraordinary, claircognizant, knowledgeable aspect to not only how you receive and are receptive to knowledge, but as a Capricorn rising, also how you manifest knowledge. Your sun in Sag, your rising in Cap, and your moon in Aqua actually also make you fully collective, where the first four signs are individual, Leo to Scorpio is social, and then Sagittarius to Pisces are the God level signs. So you are a total goddess. And as a collective, representative, I call this the upper echelon, where your focus is mainly in directing and understanding this collective representation. It's just being in the 12th house can make you very misunderstood. Neptune, which is a Piscean energy and 12th house energy with Venus, puts this now very abstract and very dreamy quality to the way you create love, to the way you see love, to the way you see visions, and to your ability with your son to be aware of clairvoyant visions that show you beyond the meaning of this reality. As Sagittarius is, as a Gemini, we're the word in the dictionary, but Sagittarius is the meaning of the word in the dictionary. So you're applying this as a Capricorn rising in ways that not only synthesize this, what makes it very misunderstood is you're now seeing things that most other people will not see or may not understand or know how to see, but doesn't mean that they're not there. And on top of this, this will also color very amazingly the ascended quality of your spiritual beliefs that can show you unseen metaphysical dynamics through experiences. And Saturn, that you have in Virgo, being born in 79, which links karma, Saturn, with destiny, the North Node, and fortune, Jupiter, is enabling you to align these visions with social, real social context. So you're actually seeing things that apply to what's really happening. And then on top of that, Moon in Aquarius means you know what you're seeing because not every Sagittarius knows what they're seeing. And then Mercury on Uranus in Scorpio. I know I'm naming all these planets, but this is just very, very amazing here. Like this level of processing that your Mercury has on Uranus is at ridiculously genius levels that to most people will look delusional and crazy, but they don't understand that this level of psychoanalyzation is at a goddess level. Like it's not going to be linear, it's not going to be normal. There's a way you can make it there, and it's aligned with your MC and career. So this speaks to how this claircognizant wisdom and genius mind that gets to the bottom of the truth of a situation innovates the society you're around. And that's what I'm going to talk about when we talk about the next year ahead for you, because this eclipse that we're going to conclude in Taurus season is fundamentally unlocking and concluding this Taurus Scorpio pipeline before the North Node in July goes into April, and we start to unlock the 10th house Pluto axis of the extreme transformation that you bring socially. So, the question that I have for you, first of all, is just to understand this 12th house Sag. I'm really curious how you experience this, because Venus in the 12th alone represents hidden talents, but it also represents this clandestine type of love where you can tap into connections that maybe other people don't see, or they just kind of feel almost sci-fi in a certain sense, where you could see visions about other people through your heart. And I just want to know how you experience that.
So I actually do have it's funny, I have clairvoyant visions or dreams, but it's about the stupidest stuff. It's like I have a conversation with my friend and it's, "Oh, like, what did you have for lunch today?" And I'll dream that. And I was like, I'm like, "Why can't this be anything useful?"
That's
But
wild.
but it also allows me to connect, and I feel like, well, one, I know I am empathic, so I do need to be mindful about pulling other people's emotions, but
Right.
I am able to feel how they're feeling. So when somebody's closed off or guarded, I can get a sense if that's just that they're having a bad day, that there's something minor and not important going on versus there's some underlying issue that they need support with. Like, do I give them a break or do I hold them accountable? And that's really helped me in my career with my colleagues and my direct reports. It's all even socially, it's helped me with that, just trying to get through that. But on a romantic side, I definitely, have issues with cutting people too much slack. So it's, getting through that. But, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that helped a lot because the 12th house theme can bring in unconditional love. And I feel like that can allow people to take advantage, especially with
Yes.
cutting people too much slack. Because it's like the 12th house gives one this sense of compassion where you can inherently even understand why people act the way they do, and you can see it. And this gives you is thank you. That showed me more how this can cause one to bring give the benefit of the doubt, but I also am fascinated by how you are saying that it could be more useful, which I feel like is a dynamic as Neptune is coming out your third house will kind of change more so, especially as Neptune is opposing your Saturn. So this is aligning more useful social context to seemingly mundane experiences. I think there's going to be a new way you can interpret what seemingly was not as important, but maybe is a way that kind of ties in super relevantly, or this could just kind of switch. I think, especially as Saturn, because you're on the verge of completing your Saturn return that kicked off like 2009, 2008. By 2024, coming into 2025, you will have completed that opposition. And I think that's going to really add a lot more control over how much at will you're able to induce this part of yourself and to really tap into this 12th house magic, and how you can see. But I really love the way you explain that. And of course, once again, in examining your ninth house Virgo, Saturn, Jupiter, North Node, Mars, even Lilith here really suggests this hyper, super analytical quality of how you teach and how you philosophize, which is not going to be in a very mumbo jumbo spiritual way. It's going to be very critical. It's going to be super critical. And I think that's one of the best parts about you, your ability to break your philosophy or anything you perceive down to itty bitty pieces, so that through the third house Pisces, you can bring it back together and connect it through your attitude and how you imagine these pieces, because this ends up being a facet of your destiny. 79 and 97 both share the heaven to earth destiny, where you're bringing this divine, understanding with the south node into the north node in Virgo, and connected to the ninth house. This is all about creating your own religion. And I think you're using the resources of what's unseen and metaphysical in your imagination to teach people how to think critically, to teach people how to analyze critically. This doesn't even have to be as simple as analytical, critique. Virgo has a lot to do with nursing. Virgo can also have a lot to do with real social dynamics. So whatever this kind of plays out as, this could even just be the style. Like even if you were teaching about engineering or atheism or God, you would break it down in a very critical way that brings out all the details. And in that sense, what do you feel about that as far as the ninth house Virgo aspect here?
So it's funny you touched on engineering specifically. Until just about a year ago, I was not supposed to be doing engineering, but doing some engineering as part of my day job and explaining it to people that are more emotionally driven and kind of finding that balance between, for example, customer service and we have to do everything the customer wants with the very engineering, methodical, logical mind, and then almost like translating. And that's where I was with, again, helping people see the other side and the vision and being very empathetic, almost to a fault, with both sides. And in my new job that I started about a year ago, I'm also sort of doing engineering to some degree and working on that side. So, did I answer your question? Sorry.
No, yes, you did, especially bringing in engineering as well. That helps me understand because I always like to correlate the MC and what careers people have, just to kind of see how that plays out, just to take it from
Okay.
theoretical to, you know,
So
and
I was doing procurement for an electronics company doing very technical and like electronics manufacturing and sourcing and the like physics, which I never wanted, but ended up with that. And
right,
then the new job that I'm in is doing home building, but more of the design side, design sales ish, and uh, all the legal and compliance end as well. So both at far ends of the spectrum.
right,
But I've been
and
translating those into actual like production nuts and bolts, what we need. So
I really appreciate that because I know Uranus has everything to do with electronics, technology, innovation, and Mercury is like the processor. So to see that you have that next to your MC of career, and that was kind of a part of your career, like working with technology, and then also how you're segueing it now, is very, very, very fascinating to me, especially because now the MC in Scorpio is gonna denote towards culture and socialization and sharing values and sharing, trust.
okay.
So, that just really helped teach me how to see that, just kinda correlate the Uranus, to that. So this is really beautiful. Once again, that was just a nice look at your planets. We know you also have Chiron and Taurus. People with Chiron and Taurus opposite Uranus and Scorpio have natural healing, Chiron and Taurus, but the Uranus and Scorpio adds this clear cognizant understanding of where automatically to touch someone, to ground energy. And I feel like this now also, I always use this to talk about like natural physical healing, but I think this also has a technological aspect too, being able to know how to, direct. And I don't think it's as simple as just fixing technology, but to coral electrical energy naturally through the body, and to really also, because the Scorpio energy is more pure in its wisdom and occult. There's just certain hidden elements that will be nonlinear and just outright psychic. And I feel like that's a huge property of your mind, where you can psychoanalyze things and see the meaning of things without needing the details, and it can throw people off how you even know what you know, which is really interesting. So, yeah, the Capricorn rising has you embody integrity. And so, Aquarius is an element of your soul, the soul knowledge that you manifest, where you have all this goddess value in your soul with Psyche and Pallas Athena. And the second house being what you have, an Aquarius being in the second house means that you have extraordinary soul knowledge. So this is the ascended version of me, in that I have an individual personality and an individual spirit. but my moon is in Capricorn, so I'm a collective individual. So as an
Nice.
individual, thank you. As an individual spirit and rising, Taurus rising, you paid me so that I can talk to you one on one. And that's how I manifest Gemini. I'm manifesting literally communication, information, truth. You have the ascended version of this where you're not individual, you're at the collective level. So instead of being limited to just talk one on one, you're manifesting this knowledge for the collective. And it's the understanding of this knowledge you hold in your soul that is a resource that you can draw from to come into so much abundance, to come into so much knowledge, which your worth is going to be your knowledge. Your what you value is going to be this knowledge. What you value is going to be working smart instead of working hard, which is really beautiful. Or working smarter than you work hard. And this, of course, in my opinion, is the strongest second house one can have, Aquarius. The most powerful will be Cap, the most magical Pisces, but the strongest is going to be the knowledge, Aquarius. So that's something I wanted to highlight because Pluto is awakening this throughout the next decade. It has gone through your rising. Jupiter, since 2020, has started its 12-year cycle. That at current with Jupiter with the moon, which is currently conjunct Jupiter 23, 24 degrees in Aries. This in your fourth house is facilitating perhaps a move. So, my question for you would be: did you move recently? Are you planning to move, or are you renovating and expanding your home at current?
I am house hunting, so that is fantastic news.
Yes, and everyone who I speak to about this always moves. Even the person who I spoke to the other day is house hunting. So I could just let you know Jupiter will bless you with that. Like Jupiter coinciding this, it literally it's a fail safe. Like it's gonna literally guide you with abundance so that you get just the right house. And it's a point of fortune here. So that's definitely something to
Mm.
look forward to. And the cool thing is, as a Sagittarius sun, this home space is going to be a space that opens up your creativity and your inner
Oh,
child,
great.
as this is enabling you at a much deeper psychological way to express yourself in this more raw, authentic, creative way, which is beautiful. Because now in May, Jupiter is going into Taurus, and the rest of 2023 is going to be you establishing chapter 5 of this Jupiter evolution. And Jupiter and Taurus in your fifth house is going to ground this creativity of production once you have this home space, and coinciding through this year, which will naturally unfold for you. And as a Sagittarius sun, this is what's going to create the routine around your creativity. I
Do
would
you have
say
a
magic.
I'm sorry, do you have a ballpark estimate or feeling for when everything might fall into place based on the placement in my chart
Great
for when I
question.
might actually have a house?
So, no, really great question. I feel like if the Aries cycle is initializing this right now, then the completion of this initial cycle should be from now to 6 months. So I
Okay,
think by the summer solstice, you'll already have an idea of where you're moving to. And then by October, you're settled in there.
great.
Yeah. And I mean, even through May, there could be unconventional dynamics with the Uranus transit that speed this up and make this happen so much quicker. But those are the dates I'll give you for sure.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
yeah. And personally, I think a huge facet, the major facet for this year into next year is we're gonna see Pluto retrograde back into Capricorn during July and June and July in the summer. But Jupiter is gonna retrograde in Taurus. It's gonna coming into January, be back at the beginning of Taurus, and then by May of 2024, in a year from now, it'll be ready to go into Gemini. Once it's in Gemini, it's going to immediately oppose your Sagittarius sun, and that's going to evolve your awareness of what partnerships with other people integrate in this evolution of your lifestyle. Because 2024, the name of the game of 2024 is leveling up your routine. It's going to evolve the thoughts you think that bring your day-to-day lifestyle to the next level relative to who you're partnering with that influences your lifestyle. and how your lifestyle influences partnerships with other people. Very dynamic. And this is what helps me see that this Taurus chapter with Jupiter here is going to ground the footing so that you can manifest the creative lifestyle you'll begin to integrate and communicate to others coming into next year. This is even cooler because now, relative to 2021, where we begun this eclipse chapter, the whole purpose of this was to unlock the pure wisdom that over the past 10 years you have put in work for your career. Because the way this works is with the North Node transiting your fifth house, similar to the natal position, you're using the resources of the support you gain from your 11th house so that you can, based on this support, manifest independent success doing what you love. So the theme of creativity and this innovation and awakening of your inner child, whether through new passions or existing passions, or just self-employment, because the fifth house is really great for self-employment or just what you're independently doing, is what's going to facilitate this in whatever way this looks like. Even if it's just you having more fun in your life, it's definitely going to connect you to not only who in your community and what you're innovating in your community, especially relative to what you said you do for your work. I mean, that obviously innovates so amazingly the society around you. So this is kind of coming back around and gaining returns from that. By the time we step into July, which I'll mention, and the North Node goes into Aries, the name of the game is unlocking this powerful sense of your career, pure transformation, so that this can focus once again toward your home. And so that's going to happen once again in July. And that's why I feel like by July, you're going to be, it's just going to unfold for you as soon as next month. I think you wouldn't really even have to have any challenge looking for it because all of this is meant to be. It's all aligned with destiny now. So this is going to kind of make this process somewhat very guided. And I think the importance of this home space is to facilitate the next direction in your career, your awakening. And that's once again more referencing um that's once again more just referencing this quality of Pluto that's right on your 10th house cusp, which is very powerful. And the pipeline that the South Node coming into October will make, because that's another feature of this year. So as of now, we have concluded this Aries transit. The fourth house was to sow the seeds for what direction you're ready to move in concerning your home space and where you feel creative living. And in 6 months from now, by the time we're in, of course, Libra season, this is going to bring the eclipse at 26 degrees opposite the North Node in Aries, where we're going to have Chiron on the North Node, and Pluto is going to be within like 5, 6 degrees from this eclipse. So that's going to be very transformative. If we even look 6 months from then, the eclipse we're going to have is going to be around 15 degrees. So yeah, this next 6 months ahead, coming into October of 2023, I think is going to be instrumental in now transforming your awareness of what direction you shift your career in. Now that you're in this new home space, now that you have much more creativity to instill out there, the individual actions you're taking now will be the social actions you're taking with other people to facilitate this transformation, which I feel is like years in the making. Because 2017 was where we had Jupiter on here and you evolved this. Well, now you've completed that, and this is really going to bring an amazing series of completions because now, relative to your Saturn return that you had around once again 2008, well, this is completing coming into 2024, 2025. And it's very important to speak on completions because I've learned recently this really, really influences the nature of one's career arc. I mean, if Saturn is, of course, your karma and the work ethic attached to your success, it's going to really now influence why during this period things may be coming at a closure. And to make sense of this, right? Um, you know, it's I always like to reference, I'm going to make a special video about this. I like to reference President Trump and I like to reference Kanye West because these are two people who outright got canceled um when Saturn was opposite their Saturn. Does everyone get canceled with this? No. But what we see with the Saturn opposition, whether people get canceled or not, one phase of their career ends because it's complete. It's
Mhm.
the right, the portion that was started with. We saw this with Trump and his campaign, and how 2020, when the opposition happened, he was kicked out of office. And then Kanye with the Adidas, even though once it went with the eighth house, they started to gain back traction again, because now you're completing the consolidation with that 180-degree angle relative to 2008, where you started this karmic lesson of really preparing to teach society, um, in whatever way you carry forth this critical philosophy. And on the completion of this is bringing it all together in a mindset and attitude that masters and materializes in your imagination, and the way you're able to communicate this higher philosophy in bite-sized chunks. So it's like what you've learned over the past 17 years you can teach now. Or but even though it would be more accurate to say that when you started this Saturn return, it was like you were a teacher. You just started teaching, and now you're completing the Saturn return in ways that innovate learning what you've taught. I wish I can say that better, but that's really the emphasis of uh what is going to get ready over the next couple years to complete, so that this can now push forward. And because Neptune is opposite this as well, it's going to add this very non-linear, intuitive sense, if anything, of how magical much of your perspective, most importantly, through this is not only harnessed, but also as a Sagittarius sun, what the transcendence of your vision helps you see in ways that others collectively may not see with your unique perspective. And that's where 2023 does an amazing job of shifting this very considerably. Of course, starting with May, where we conclude the eclipse right now, actually, with this new moon that people will consider technically, eclipse next to this Taurus energy at 4 degrees, which is right next to your Chiron and Vesta, and close enough to your IC to, oh, there we go. I didn't even realize that the IC of home in Taurus is with this eclipse what's going to have your moving naturally unfold. So this is aligned with destiny
Nice.
100%. Yeah, oh yeah. And at least it's going to really give us a much more powerfully grounded element towards how this thing's unfolding. And so this is what I feel like, this could even make this occur much quicker than just July. But I would say latest by July, you're already like getting ready to settle into this place from July to October. But yeah, this is really going to do well to innovate and ground the completion and unlocking of this eclipse, focusing that nodal element once again towards this creativity and home space that enables you to build off on this foundation. And because you have this stellium in Virgo, unlike other people who will have to wait until the summer to now take what they're manifesting and put it together, the awareness of this energy through May, you will already know how and see how to put all of this together from May to September, so that by September you've already started the process since May. As all this energy trining the natural Virgo energy you have will take the resources of what you're manifesting and already begin to integrate it in the social channels that respectively hit. And then again in May, once we start to see Jupiter trying your Jupiter, and then just expand the quality of how much more efficiently you'll be doing everything you're doing. Gemini season, of course, in June, late May into June, is now going to prepare to integrate the natural value of everything you're creating into your routine. And this is where we're going to see great evidence of how innovative the quality of your routine is. This is also where we're going to begin to see Pluto begin to retrograde back into Aquarius. So by the time Mars is ready to move into Leo, opposite this Pluto aspect, square the Taurus energy, I think this is going to really challenge how much more comfortable you are with the shifting of your value and how much more confidently you express and take action towards other people with that. Especially with Jupiter and Saturn that have long since evolved the knowledge of your value in 2021. And then Saturn has structured this evolution through, of course, your attitude and through, of course, how you manifest this element of your value. And that's where Gemini is going to really put this idea all together in order for you to begin to communicate as a Sagittarius sun directly towards others. This change of your behavior, this alignment and integration more of your behavior once again. And that's what leads us into summer, where the way you feel about now transforming your dealings with others and bridging these ideas towards other people will coincide with the opposition of Pluto in your first house to the sun on your Juno, because you have Juno in the seventh house, which is this Juno in the seventh. I have Juno in the seventh in Scorpio. It's not common, but it kind of adds this royal aspect to your marriage. I mean, Juno is a marriage asteroid, but it's also the queen goddess, the wife of Jupiter, Hera. So normally when I see this with women who have it and embody it, it really speaks a lot to their character. And I want to extend this to the DC, because now this is you in a sincere relationship with this Juno aspect. I feel like for men, it will denote that they're going to marry this Juno type archetype. But I think this for you will represent the commitment as a representative of integrity, an embodiment of integrity. The you commit to this emotional sincerity. And I think Juno here is not only going to play a very important role in triggering the opposition to Pluto, but I think is going to bring to form very important partnerships, existing partnerships you already have. And with that new moon in Cancer, we'll have the beginning of transforming your own personality and awakening more incredible facets of your personality to match how much more powerfully emotional and sincerely aligned the actions you're making towards other people during this period are as well. This is also a completion since January of 2023 and December of 2022, with the conjunction in Capricorn that will be complete by July. So the work that you've done on your personality in Capricorn, on your value in Aquarius, on your imagination and attitude through Pisces, on your home space and how you feel about who you are in Aries right now, in how you're going to manifest groundedly this creativity in Taurus, and then align and integrate your thoughts towards how you communicate to others. All of this is going to come together in Cancer and move forward. But once again, I can't help but shake the feeling that Juno here for you, because not everyone has Juno in this position, but you having this at 28 degrees, a degree of mastery, so close to 29, is going to color very powerfully the regal element and the authority. Because I also see Juno as a ruler, and so really just, this authority and rulership of what you're ready to move forward in these partnerships with, the color of these partnerships, I think that's good. And then of course this squares your Pluto. So it's just going to add more extreme quality to this dynamic footing. So yeah, once we now step into this summer solstice, from Cancer season to Libra season, we're taking this transformation of your partnerships to now balance the alignment of what associates in your social circle help bring you more to success. What kind of social actions and projects awaken more this direction of success, and the completion of everything you've done now in order to really facilitate this inner creativity towards now taking this authenticity and expressing it socially towards others in public with people who you consider colleagues and associates. So once again, it's like right now you are really sowing the seeds for this newer sense of how creatively you can foster your inner child and everything you're talented at doing in a home space that opens this up. And now you're going to take that authenticity by October and November and express that to other people publicly through the cultivation of this in July, where from July and August, those seeds you planted down are growing through the ground, and you're more in a position to transform how much more authentically and strong you deal with others with this element of authenticity, borrowing the knowledge you have in Aquarius so that you match that passion with the intellect of your soul, the very knowledgeable quality of your soul that understands the knowledge of not only what you see, but who you're dealing with. And I think this Leo season is once again going to add a little bit of drama post the Pluto opposition, as it's challenging square with your Uranus and Scorpio, and then the Uranus and Taurus will really just innovate the quality of how you take what foundation you have already established. I mean, of course, by this time you're probably moved into your new place, and how you're beginning to now adapt to this, more advanced, unconventional quality of who you're connecting with, who you're dealing with, what boundaries you're drawing, who you trust during this period. And all of this is going to come into the light with analytical, clear facts coming into Virgo season. So, as of now, anything you're not sure how to move forward with, by the time we're in the summer season, these details will critically, in detailed, once again, fashion, be made not only aware but very clear. And thankfully, as a Sagittarius sun, this element of your philosophy is your career. This is now the philosophical basis and integrity upon which you come into the success and authority into your career, which I appreciate about Sagittarius. The success, whereas Gemini success is more a dream, Sagittarius success is very real. It's how real can we, make the dream and vision in our real society. So, this is going to, I would say by the time we're in June, we're going to see Mars and Venus leave Leo together and go into Virgo. So this is going to, in preparation, start to prepare how you're infusing with, your desires and what you might want to balance, the social axis of how to deal with people you'll be dealing with, so that by the time we're in September, you're aware of everything that you've already put into place. And once again, if we actually look 6 months from now, Mars is going to be in Scorpio, Venus will actually be in Virgo, which is very interesting. So it looks like Venus might actually retrograde this year. Yeah, Venus is going to retrograde in Leo this year. That is insane. After it meets up with Leo. So the Venus retrograde in Leo, once again, because your moon is in Aquarius, you'll have understanding of knowledge of how to deal with others, versus if you didn't have it there, you'll just have to kind of touch and go. So this will really strengthen a lot of how much more passionately you kind of reorganize your relationships with who you trust, because once again, moving forward, by the time we step into this Virgo season and then Libra season with the eclipse, this is going to now transform the direction of who you're comfortable moving forward with. Because the South Node in the 10th house pipeline is unlocking this career success as an element for you to allocate the funds from this career to renovate your home, to really focus more on how you're living, what comfort you have, who you are. And with this focus here, this is you actively taking actions to uncover this internal sense of value. But once again, by the time we complete what's happening now in October, this is what's going to lead into, of course, Scorpio post eclipse, where we won't have the South Node here anymore. And this is where people born in the 70s, let's say the yeah, the 70s, with Uranus and Scorpio are I think have an edge over anyone, or before, have an edge with anyone after, because you guys actually have Uranus opposite the transit Uranus. In fact, right now Uranus is about, of course, uh what 17 degrees. So by the time we get to, um what was it, September, Uranus is going to be 22 degrees opposite your Uranus. And that complete opposition happens once in a lifetime. And this is this sense of genius that takes these intangible elements of your wisdom and what you can claircognizantly understand, and it is actively manifesting this through your clear physical senses. It's like now your body can now make physical sense of what you might have been psychically intuiting, which is supreme. Like, this is super awesome. And because Chiron is connected here too, I think this is unlocking this sense of healing with this element of your destiny path. So relative to May, that by this time, Jupiter will be retrograding in Taurus and really evolving to the next level. The foundation and the value that flourishes in this promised land of the creativity and value you can draw from. Now, Scorpio is giving you this awareness of who you can share this with in your community. Who do you trust to take this sense of value to multiply, to innovate more from? How can you draw from this sense of value to transform your dealings with your friends and other people? And all of this is behind the Sagittarius sun energy, which I would say by now you've progressed long since into Aquarius. But, relative to the natal chart, this being unconscious to the Sag sun can denote how you're overcoming the influence of hidden enemies, or, just differences with other people, and how you now align more to this sense of creativity and what it is you truly want, this career success, this full final unlocking of your career direction with the South Node in Libra. And then, of course, coming into Sagittarius, this full on transcendence of the spiritual beliefs relative to June, where you are integrating these enlightened ideas relative to now where you're ready to move. September, where you're integrating this integration of ideas towards breaking through the philosophical critique of now, while you're settled into this place, how to integrate this in this new social setting. And whereas June is going to give you ideas about how to integrate, September is going to give you facts post integration about how to move forward with what you can really integrate from those ideas. And so December is going to show you the higher meaning of these ideas you integrated. And now, relative to what you integrated from June to September, you are releasing from September to December, and then from December to March of 2024, the releasing of these old unconscious habits and really concluding what in June you're going to complete in December is transcending the old vision of how you saw things before you moved into this new place, before you really cultivated this new creativity, so that you can embody in Capricorn this reawakening of this incredible character that now, with Jupiter getting ready to go into Gemini, relative to last year where you were coming into this expansion of your inner child and inner world, now you're getting ready to expand more your lifestyle and the creativity that you can practically build around your lifestyle. And this is beautiful because relative to 2022 at this period, concepts that were more an idea of the direction you want to go into are now super real coming into 2024, where you've already put in the work this year. So coming back around into February, you know exactly what to manifest. You're understanding what is manifesting, what knowledge is necessary to be the framework of, by the time you come back around into Aries season, through this attitude adjustment of Pisces season, which 2024 will bring the greater development of Saturn. Neptune will be close to 29 degrees, getting ready to leave the sign in 2025, and just enriching more this completion of your imagination and the south nodal understanding of the resources needed to socialize in this critical way. This will bring us back into Aries, where now the eclipse with the north node in your fourth house will enable you to be so much more settled in your community and your home, and know a lot much more what direction to integrate everything as Jupiter goes into Gemini in May, and you complete this eclipse throughout 2024. And that, in a nutshell, is the year ahead. Did you have any questions at all so far?
Are there any time frames that I should be mindful of in terms of using extra caution?
Oh, great question. So, extra caution, personally, um, that's a really good question because I mean, you could say you want to keep cautious, for the whole transit, but I would say for sure the all of Taurus season coming into May, I would say literally starting tomorrow and coming into the end of May, that's
Okay,
going to heavily influence how grounded you decide where you live and what you want it to feel like. That's what's going to unfold relevant information that will enable you to move forward very properly. And then also mildly Gemini season because it's opposite your sun and this can bring open enemies. But I want to say the summer period would probably be the first real area of caution because you're going to have the Pluto opposition in your seventh while Pluto is in your first house in the Capricorn version. And that can bring very extreme differences with other people. It could also bring extreme coming together of two different, worlds. But I would say that the Taurus season opposition to Uranus and then the Cancer season opposition to Pluto in the summer. So in May and June, I would say are two major dates. And once you kind of overcome that, then I think the hard part is over, really, of this year.
great.
Yeah, that opposition in July is going to determine exactly how you move forward in the direction you'll move forward to. So that'll be more circumstantial relative to who shows up to play out those archetypes. But I see this very favorably because Pluto is in your first house. So you're going to be an instrument of not only this Plutonian awakening, but as a Sagittarius sun, this is manifesting greater value in your identity and awakening how much more it's worth. So, Cancer sun is really you being aware of how, in your relationships with other people honor that or undermine that.
Great. And what do you see in terms of a romantic relationship, either development or issues,
Oh, great question. So, hmm,
or nothing, which is also information?
right. I feel like as far as romance is concerned, I like to take the manifestation approach to where um we're not necessarily bound by time or transits, but at the same time, there are auspicious transits that just kind of facilitate these things. And that's where
Right.
right? So that's why I feel like from May to June will be that period again. Because your the fifth house is a romance house. And then the seventh house is relationships and agreements. So the sixth house in between then is can my lifestyle support a relationship? And this is where this fifth house eclipse as a Capricorn rising can stimulate through Taurus season the ability for you to manifest greater romance in your life existing or to create new opportunities. And because now and in fact, Aries is fifth house to your Sagittarius, so this could already start the direction. But yeah, I really want to say the Taurus season energy can create fertile ground for potential romance that through June and July will strengthen because June is the relationship house for Sagittarius, and then July is the relationship house as a Cap rising. And these are going to be periods where you're having to deal with other people in your relationships with them, so this will support the potential with the new moon cycles for new partnerships, new phases in partnerships. And you just having that intention to create that, I think will also add a double portion of magic in the sense where, and this is what I learned recently in applying these manifestation abilities and techniques where we manifest not the techniques, right? But just in deciding, this is what I see, this is what I focus
Mhm.
on. I think that adds like steroids, a supercharged effect that you applying that from May to July, I think will be very auspicious for you, especially since the goddess marriage asteroid of Juno in your house of partnerships could perhaps facilitate something very significant with Pluto that's going to be transforming it. So this could even be the transformation of how you identify yourself because of a significant partnership that comes in through your spirit.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And let's see. Right now, once again with the South Node, um, getting ready to leave Scorpio. As the North Node trines your North Node, that Taurus Virgo pipeline once again is will really align you with how to put everything together as it's coming together. I'd like to see Taurus as the individual pieces and Virgo as putting it all together, and Capricorn is directing the whole process. So yeah, I feel like um the activation portion is completing, and now you're stepping into this individual sense of integration that's going to put it together before you put it together socially with other people. So, yeah. And let's see, Venus is currently in Gemini. So, Venus that's going to be opposing your Venus in Sagittarius, I think will also prepare for Gemini season with this completion of being a lot more clear on what it is you want in your relationships and what lifestyle you want to live. Because Venus going through Gemini is going to polish your routine so that this can open up space for the right partnerships, platonic or romantic, to facilitate themselves.
Great. Good answer. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Much appreciated. I'm gonna send you this recording through WeTransfer.
Great.
And yeah, if you have any final questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I could just send you this right now.
That's perfect. That you've answered all my questions and more. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Thank you once again for calling in. And if you have any questions in the future, please just shoot me an email. That's no problem. And you have a blessed weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Bye. Peace.
Bye-bye.